I just built a workflow that takes one photo and turns it into a cinematic shot like this. I ran it in my browser with no GPU and I didn't install anything. It also connects directly to your Claude Code. So if you've ever run ComfyUI, you already know why I went looking for something else. It's probably the most powerful node tool there is, but you basically need to be a dev to use it. It throws constant errors, it breaks whenever you try to import custom nodes, and if you grab someone else's workflow, now you're just trying to figure out how to install all of their custom nodes too. So instead, I'm using this. It's essentially ComfyUI in the cloud, but everything is hosted for you, and they have all of the best models. So they have Nano Pro, Seedance 2, Gemini Omni, all of the best models, and they just make it much easier, and you don't have to worry about things breaking or random errors. And then all of the workflows just work out of the box. You can share them with your team, and they have just a bunch of like high-end templates ready for you already. Alright, so once you've signed into Wireflow, you'll see a page like this, which is essentially your workflow dashboard. So these are all the workflows I've built in Wireflow. And for this video, we'll just be going through a basic 3 example workflow. So we'll just be working through each of these workflows, and I'll just be kind of showing you the differences between ComfyUI and Wireflow. Alright, so off the bat, the main differences with Wireflow is that it's much faster and it's much simpler than Comfy, because everything is running on the cloud with the best GPUs. So when you click generate, it's going to be as fast as that model can possibly generate, and we're not getting restricted by your local hardware or anything like that. And then secondly, the canvas is just much simpler. So you have basic nodes like text import, image nodes, preview nodes, video nodes, and then just like basic utility nodes as well. The controls in Wireflow are also quite a bit different. They're a bit closer to Figma than Comfy. So to zoom in, I'm just going to hold Control and scroll my mouse. And then if I want to bring in a prompt node, I can either click over here on the left and just drag that in, or I can just right click anywhere on the canvas and select text input. I can also change tools, so I can click on this select here. Then I can just drag and select these, and then I can group them if I want, or I can just grab them and move them around as a group. I'll ungroup them for now. Then we also have comment, because it's a multiplayer kind of experience, so you can just share the workflow, change it to edit, and then anyone can come in here on your team and then just start changing things around. But if we want to start with like a really basic example, we can just grab this connector here and drop it into the open, and then I'll just type in Nano banana Lite, and then now we have a really simple text to image workflow. So I can just write a cat. Then I'll just click generate. And so Nano banana Lite is one of the fastest image models, so this shouldn't really take that long. There we go. So we have Nano banana Lite, a cat, and then if we wanted to take it to the next step, we could do a image to image workflow. So I can grab this here, drop it in the open, get another Nano banana Lite node. And then so this one has only an image connected to it, so we need to bring in a prompt. So I'm going to bring in a text input node here and just write give the cat a hat. Then I'm going to click generate. So now we have a really basic text to image and then image to image workflow where we're editing the image with this prompt. So you can see the cat now has a hat. And now I'm just going to kind of select all of these and delete that. So those are kind of the basic controls on how to bring in nodes and connect them. So I'll just jump straight into this first workflow here, which is one prompt into 2 models. So we have a prompt, a cinematic macro shot of a matte black perfume bottle on a whetstone, dramatic side light, shallow depth of field. So then you can see Nano banana Pro has this output, and then Nano banana Lite has this output. And then the reason I wanted to put them into a preview node was so I can maximize them and have them both just here on the side. So I can just easily click through them and have them full screen. Then at the top here, we can click download all if we want all of the images downloaded at once. Then the second workflow here is a photo to cinematic shot. So essentially we upload this image here of a guy with a leather jacket. Then we wanted to place the subject in a neon lit rainy Tokyo alley at night. So I wanted 3 different image models for this one. I wanted a GPT image 2, Nano banana Pro, and Nano banana Lite. And then I wanted to kind of compare which one I like the most and pick the best output to animate it. So for this one, I liked this one the most. So I decided to animate that one with Seedance. But first I wanted to upscale it. So I used Topaz upscale to do a 1.5 scale upscale. and then I fed it from Topaz into Seedance to here, and that kind of generated this video. Alright, so now the third workflow down the bottom here. This one's essentially a content machine. So instead of having to do all the prompts manually, like in this workflow here, we're going to have an AI generate the prompts and then have two utility nodes here splitting the prompts into an array and then into list nodes. And then in the list node, we can just select which prompt we want. So how this one works is you pretty much just set the overall topic. So here I've written a hidden ramen bar in rainy Tokyo alley. And then this is the system prompt. So this is what gets fed into the LLM node and runs on every time in the background when you run the model. So every time we run this, it's going to have this as its instructions. So for this example, we want it to act as a creative director. And then it's going to generate a prompt, which is essentially two prompts split by this asterisk character here. So you can see the prompts and then the asterisk, which splits the prompts. And then we're going to feed that into the array node here, which essentially just splits the prompts based on a character. And you can change that character if you want. And then we're going to split this into two list nodes. So this is the first one, has the image prompt here, and then the second one has the motion prompt. And when you bring an array out to more than one list node, it automatically just selects the next list, the next item on the list. So you don't have to manually go in and change this 10 different times if you have 10 list nodes. And then you can see we've fed the image prompt into GPT image here, and that was the output. And then we fed the image into Gemini Flash as the image reference, as well as this list node here into Gemini Flash as the prompt. Alright, so that's the finished clip, and now I'll just do an example of just changing this prompt here and then going through the whole workflow, and you can kind of see how it works with the LLM nodes. So I've changed it to rooftop bar in Seoul at sunset, and then next I'll just run this LLM node here, and you can see all of the settings are just on the right here. So you can click this and change it from Opus 4.6 to 4.8 or 4.5 or any of the best language models that you want. And that's the same for all the nodes. So all the settings are just on the right here, and they're all different, obviously, because of each different models has its own inputs and outputs. So you can see it's finished the prompts, and it's got the image prompt here, and then it's got the split, and then the motion prompt there. And now you can see, so you have a sophisticated rooftop bar, and then slow dolly in, and then it's splitting it into the two prompts here. And now we can just hit generate on this. Alright, there we go. So it's been about 2 minutes and the GPT-2 image is finished. That's the output. And then we can just come over here and click run on the Gemini node. And so the Gemini node actually didn't take as long as the GPT node. And here's like the finished output. Yeah, so we have the whole workflow now, and I didn't write a single prompt. All I did was change the initial topic here, and then the AI wrote the prompts for me and split it into two nodes. So if you're creating things with AI and you're not running a super high-end GPU, and you don't want to deal with all the headaches of having to install custom nodes and installing and setting up Comfy, I think it just makes a lot more sense to run it on the cloud through a platform like Wireflow. And the good thing about Wireflow is it has its own API as well. So this API doc here, I just pretty much give it to my Claude Code and I say learn this document, and then once it's learned the document, it can access all of your workflows. So for this example, I'll just give it that workflow URL here, my Claude Code, and I'll just say, can you please explain the last workflow in this? So I'm just running Fable 5 here. And this is pretty much just going to go through the workflow and ingest every single node and all the data and how it all connects together, and then understand it. And then we'll be able to pretty much edit anything we want in that workflow, and even execute it through the API. So you can see my Claude Code is just finished up, giving me the breakdown, and it's pretty much said that the last workflow is called the content machine, It turns a single type topic into a finished video clip. Claude writes both prompts, then GPT image 2 makes the image, and then Gemini animates it. And then it gives us a quick little breakdown of a step-by-step, and then it kind of gives us a bit of insight on things that might be missing from the workflow. So next I can just be like, I want to make it give us a few more options on the image. So I'll enter a prompt, can you please have this workflow generate a few more, can choose from. Alright, so it's a couple of minutes later now, and you can see that my Claude Code's just finished up, and it said the last workflow now generates 4 image options in parallel. So we can just click this link here, and this just takes us back to the same workflow, but you can see now we have 3 more image options here, and I'll just click run on all of these. This shouldn't take too long, as it looks like they're using Nano Banana Flash. There we go. And I think this one might be on Nano Banana Pro, but you can see now we have 4 image options to choose from, and all of that was just done through Claude Code with 0 actual effort from me on the canvas. So you can kind of see how this would be really powerful in building out more production scale or repeatable workflows. So that's pretty much the whole system. Node canvas in the browser, host of models, no GPU, no install. I'll include the whole workflow in the description for free. You can duplicate it, swap it into your own prompts, do whatever you want with it, run it through Claude Code. Yeah, in the next video, I'll go more into depth about all the different things we can run on Wireflow with Claude Code.